Okay, folks, so one of my favorite places to be is at the helm of Southern Estate here. It's been a wild, busy week last week, and this is my weekly video I do every Wednesdays to keep you guys updated. I also do on my stories, I'll put some stuff of what's going on at work. I also do a lot of shorts, so make sure you guys are checking those out too and hitting those like buttons when I put out those shorts. Anyway, today I really want to talk about, last week we talked about affordable living in the Keys, and this week let's talk about how we're going to make money to buy this Fleming and what our plan is, because you have to have a plan and we have to have goals, right? And I will, I'm privileged. Yesterday I drove down to Stuart, Florida, actually, and I was able to see Caffrey and Jim and the boys, Dustin. Thank you guys so much. Scott is down here. He was visiting the last few days, and we're getting ready. We have a bid in on his trawler right now, which he bought, that 29 Ranger tug. And then we'll get some yacht training when he gets back from the trip that he's on now, because we put him on with Jim on the Jolly Green to go and train for a couple of weeks and just get a feel for the boat and stuff like that, because Jim is currently looping and he's in Stuart, Florida, and I think they're going to go all the way to Charleston, Florida, so it's a great adventure for Scott. Gets him time on the sea, gets him anchoring. They're going to do some anchoring, they'll do some docking, and I also like it because it's a single screw bow and stern thruster, so he'll get some great experience out of that. So congratulations, Scott, I'm glad you finally made it. And anyway, so that's what I did yesterday, but while I was down there dropping him off, because he was staying here on our boat with us for a couple of days, and we were looking at trailers actually and a few other things for his new boat, but then we drove to Stuart. I drove him and dropped him off, and then I stopped at the Fleming dealer. Check this out. So I stopped at the Fleming dealer and I looked at the 65. It's not that I didn't know that that's the boat I wanted, but and it's not like I don't know the price. Used, you're looking at probably 2.2 million to, and then new, they're about 5.5 million, maybe a little bit more than that, but it's changed, you know what I'm saying, when you're talking about 5.5 million. And Tony did a great job. Tony Fleming has done such an awesome job, with that particular boat and what I need for this next adventure. So again, the plan is 3 years. So when I'm 64 years old, actually about 3.5 years, when I'm 64 years old, I'd like to leave Marathon here and on that boat. So the eye-opener, though, of that reality of it is, it's a 3-year waiting list. Even if you put a deposit and you build a new boat, it's about a 3-year waiting list. So then we were looking at some of the used, and it was so nice of the young lady to take me aboard one of the 65s and then just show it to me, and then we talked a little bit about the differences between the Flemings and the, the low center of gravity, that big horsepower. They run the twin 1,000 horsepower engines in them. And the kind of fuel mileage is amazing, because it's 1,700 gallons of fuel. To do the world, you got to really have about 2,200 gallons, or about a 2,500 nautical mile range. So you really want about a 3,000 nautical mile range, and you can get that out of the Fleming with those 2,000 horsepower engines with 1,700 gallons of fuel. But the trick is you can only run it at 8 knots. And what I really, really like about the Fleming is that you can get up on top and run. That boat is capable of 18, 19 knots, which is over 20 miles an hour. Now, when you're doing that, you're burning fuel and you lose, those kind of capabilities. But that's all. So basically, it has the same speed as Southern Estate, and it also gets the same fuel mileage. So two 1,000 horsepower engines can get right at 2 miles to the gallon, just like Southern Estate does. So that's pretty amazing to me. 240 horsepower Lehmans versus two 1,000 horsepower Mans, and they both can get the same fuel mileage. One's pushing a 65-foot boat and one's pushing, basically a 50-foot boat. But also, when I need it, when you want to be able to get up on top, you can do that with the Fleming. You can't do that with my boat. I'm stuck. If the storm's coming, I'm stuck, 7 miles an hour, 8 miles an hour, sorry, on Southern Estate. So, and if you can hold that with the Fleming, you can get almost the same fuel mileage. Just probably gets just a tad bit better at 2.2. Anyway, so it's interesting facts this morning before we start. So a couple things we got working on is all kinds of brokerage deals for the boats. I'm going to work on getting my Florida license here in Florida. You also know that I work for Little Palm now. I'm the captain on the night shift. I do Thursday through Sunday, so it's 4 days a week, and that ties up my evenings. So I kind of like that because then it gives me my mornings and to do work on boats, private charters. And another company that we're going to get involved with, this is be more on Pete's side of the fence, is we're going to do a property management company down here in the Keys. And that's just getting people's properties ready for them to come to, you know, that has been sitting a while, and we need to go dust the cobwebs off, maybe a quick wash down job, wash the patios, you know, unlock the doors, make sure the air filters are clean, the light bulbs all come on, the fans all work, and stuff like that. It's pretty much just standard property management. We've done it just about our whole lives. We've owned a couple different construction companies, and then we owned a what we call Bates Handyman. We owned that down in Alabama. We owned that for, I don't know, about 10 years, and it's probably one of my favorite businesses that we actually owned. But we're going to concentrate on the handyman part of it, but more of the property management part of it, so people can come in here, come into the Keys. They don't have to worry about, you know, what's going on with their property. You know, if we've got to go turn a light bulb on once in a while or shut a light bulb off. It's just stuff like this, strictly property management, changing light bulbs, checking air filters, keeping their beach clean, stuff like that. When we know they're coming, you know, we'll be able to offer some type of yacht services too, where they can, well, I'll be able to captain the boat for them, or another captain, doesn't matter. They've got several captains down here now that I've met, all good, capable captains. So one of us should be able to accommodate just about anybody and their needs when they get down here to the Keys. So that's one business that we're going to start to generate income for this Fleming, and we should have that up and running, I would say, in the next couple of months. Another thing that I'm going to do is get a Southern Estate here ready for for yacht training, and that's where I'll bring people in, and I'm going to start a course where you can come in here and you can get trained on Southern Estate, which would be, and I'd like to get a couple boats into the fleet, but right now this is the boat I have. This is the boat I'm going to concentrate. This is the boat that I don't have to borrow any money. This is the boat that will keep it going and get it started, because I do want to put a single screw into the fleet also. My other thoughts, then this is just where my head's at right now. This isn't set in stone yet, but I am going to start looking for a property that we can rent that'll have 2 to 3 slips available to us. That way we can keep Southern Estate on one of the slips, then I can keep the single screw, which I charge rent for that, you know. So if an owner comes in and he lets us use his single screw boat, he may get the lease time for the school, but he also has to pay the slip rent there, and slip rent down here in the Keys is very expensive. So even like Southern Estate here, you can justify $2,000 a month because it's basically what it costs. It's a little bit less than that. It's about, what did we say last week? It was like $1,650. So, but you times that by 3, you know, that's a pretty good piece of the chunk. So I'm hoping to find something that we can rent down here, I don't know, somewhere, and I know this sounds like a big number, but somewhere around $6,500, maybe $7,500 with 3 slips available to me for 50 plus boats. Because then as the brokerage boats come in too, I'm working with a couple different brokers on which one I go with. I really like Mark and his program, but I also like At Ease, and you know, I love Seth. You guys know that he's been in several of my videos, and he's been calling and contacting me lately too. So, but I want to be able to bring a boat over there that we're listing for the brokerage and be able to park it on the property. So, and it's just an idea that's later on down the road. Hopefully, maybe this year, maybe towards the end of the year. We really got to get some income coming in before we can start something like that. So the property management thing would have to be full keel going, and then the yacht training would have to be started, and I'd have to have some bookings before I can justify spending that kind of money on you know, that kind of rent. So, and we'll see, you know, I could be completely off on that. I got to contact a realtor sometime this week or next week on one of my days off, which is nice with this job. I have 3 days off. Man, it was awesome last week, and I know I'm going to stop here and go back, but key deer out there on the island, it was just amazing. It just blows my mind every single time, and they are got to be the cutest little beasts on the face of this earth. And you just want to, they love rose petals. So, and then we have some up in the what we call the quarter deck, and I'm gonna actually go grab some. So, right, I just wanted to show you this little girl right here, and I got to, you know, feed her some rose petals a couple days back, and it was just amazing. Anyway, last week was Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day. It was very emotional for me. I had to work on the boat delivering, you know, and it was our first Mother's Day without my mother, and so it was kind of a weird, awkward feeling that I had, and you know, I really miss her. So it's just something that I have to deal with. And you know, me and Pete both, you know, Mary, our sister, Peter, Paul, and Mary, she sent out a text, you know, and then it was right during the shift, you know, it wasn't fair. And then now I'm taking mothers over to the island, so it got a little bit emotional for me, and almost I kind of shut down for a few minutes. So, you know, and just really thought about it and reflected on it and stuff like that. Anyway, out here in the Keys, for you guys that are, you know, I don't know, you know, if you're planning to make that transition, two things about being out here in the Keys is, you know, sobriety and, you know, just a good work ethic. And I think that you can thrive out here in the Keys. I don't believe that we're going to have too many problems with this property management company. And I don't believe we're going to have any problems with the yacht training because it'll be for the people that can afford it, basically. And same thing with the property management. And typically down here in the Keys, you know, there's, you know, you can go both ways, because there's probably some of the richest people in the world, and there's probably some of the poorest people in the world too. But when I say that, you can't really, even a trailer out here in a RV lot, you know, it can run $250,000 for some like 1968 trailers somebody painted pink and put some furniture in it. That can run you $250,000, and then you have to pay on top of that $1,200 to $1,500 a month for the slot that it stays in, and that's all providing that a hurricane doesn't come next month and take it out. So, you know, there's a lot of there is some of that, but even at that, you know, it's hard to phantom, you know, that it's just a regular person. You know, you can't be a $15 an hour guy living in something like that. You just can't be, unless you inherited it or something like that. Because down here in the Keys, I'm finding, you know, that the wages are a little bit higher, but not high enough to afford or justify the rent of a house. You know, like just a typical house that me and Pete could go rent and live in. No dock, no nothing, just a house. You'd probably be starting at a minimum of, and this is for a 2-bedroom, maybe a 3-bedroom, about $3,500 to $4,000 a month. So, and the wages don't justify that, because it's even like, you know, my job, my captain job, it pays 25 bucks an hour. Pete's maintenance jobs, they pay $25 an hour. That's why we got to expand past where we're at. You know, we need to be really, you know, making that $150 to $200 an hour to survive and thrive here in the Keys. And we can't do that unless we own the companies. So that's what we're going to really concentrate over the next 6 months, is getting, first of all, the property management, because it's an easy one for us to start. It's really easy for us to start because we've been doing it our whole lives. So that one's just super easy. The boat one's a little more complicated, I think, just because of insurance, location, parking, you know, and just the whole logistics of that one is a little bit, I think, more complicated. But I'll still keep doing it as I'm doing it now. Like I've got Scott down here. He'll be down here next week with his boat, or a couple weeks, about 3 weeks, if everything goes smooth with the deal. He'll be down here with his boat, and then we'll get some yacht training done on that. So I'll keep maintaining it, the people that are staying close in contact with me, and I'll keep doing it for them, just like I've always done. That won't stop. But to really get, you know, to get the school started where you can get certificates, signed off with the Coast Guard, all that stuff, that's going to take a little bit of time to get that one really up and running. But it's also my plan, this is just my plan now, and plans can change, is once we get the property management company going, and then we get towards the end of this, you know, we're getting ready to leave on the Fleming, and we got to finish coming up with the money to pay for the Fleming, that I would sell that company and possibly sell them both. And that would raise a fairly decent chunk of the money. I can't go into the numbers because, you know, it's all based on what the numbers are, but I'd like to see that both businesses somewhere right around that $1 million a year plus revenues from both of those companies, and I think that's pretty easy and achievable. It's just numbers, you know. It's just, we just got to sit down and play the numbers and see. You know, I think the property management will grow faster and stronger, and it'll probably be worth more money as we grow and as the company grows. And then the yacht brokerage one, because it'll be like a little more personal service. That one will be probably worth the least amount of money, but I think they both could raise some money in the end to help with the purchase of the Fleming 65. And just so you know, I mean, this Fleming 65 is really a starter yacht for the world capabilities, to give us the world capabilities that we need. You know, it'd be nice to go to a 75, but then you really got to start thinking about the slip rents and all the other stuff that accumulate with this, so that 65 really fits the bill, that you can still possibly even fit it into a marina like this. Like, we could buy this slip here and then possibly park that boat here. I'll have to check on that, because I don't know what the overall on the 65 is. I would imagine it's somewhere around 70 feet by the time you get that bow pulpit out front there and stuff like that, and the swim platform on the back. I would guess that it's somewhere right around 70 feet, because Southern Estate here is classified as a 45 footer on documentation, but she actually is a 50 foot overall from the front of the pulpit to the back. So you pretty much got to claim it as a 50-foot slip. So we'll see. And that could hinge on whether we buy some slip here or we don't buy a slip here. But that's another thing that we'll be looking for in the near future, and the accommodations to accommodate a 65-foot boat that's possibly 70 feet. Anyway, I hope you guys are following these videos. And I know that, you know, that for some of you that seems like outrageous, you know, 5.5 million. To me, it doesn't even sound like a lot of money anymore. It used to, but it doesn't anymore. And, you know, what is it really? Let's just, you know, break it down for a second. It's, you know, if I was doing Patreon, it would be 1 million Patreons. And I don't think out of the billion people, you know, what is it, 4 billion people on the planet, 350 million in the US, that I don't think it's far-fetched to even get 1 million, Patreons. I really don't. And 1 million subscribers on YouTube would make the channel really take off. So, and you should just break it down like that. It's, you know, it just seems just obtainable to me, and I don't know why, but I'm going to go for it. I'm going to try, and I'm going to do my best to make this happen. And it's a goal, and it just keeps me moving forward. And if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work. It's just not in the books, you know what I'm saying? But it's something I've always wanted to do. It's something I've dreamed about as a child, and I'm going to go for it. I mean, why wouldn't I? You know what I'm saying? So why wouldn't you, any of us, go for our dreams and what we love to do? Next week, I'm going to really dive into boat maintenance, because it seems to be a very hot topic lately. Because what does it cost to really maintain one of these old trawlers, as we've got like 4 of them right now under contract. Yeah, because Harold has just bought a Gulf Star, or it's under contract. He's got a 36-foot Gulf Star that he just purchased, and he called me yesterday, and we were going over some of the numbers. You know, do I put a new generator or an old generator? I got the 43 Albin that I took to Michigan last year. You know, that owner's putting brand new air conditioners in. He put new canvas on, and then the 2 Grand Bankses. You know, we can talk about some of the numbers on those vessels and the reality of what it costs to really maintain one of these, even this one, Southern Estate here, because, you know, the numbers, you know, wait till next week, but you're going to hear what they are, and it's not probably what you want to hear, but it's the reality of owning one of these old boats. Anyway, Paul Bates, peace out. Make sure you hit that like, subscribe, share it with your friends, and, you know, I appreciate you. Thank you so much for watching, and be good or be good at it, and we'll talk to you next week. Thank you. Bye.